May 23rd, 2025, and we're discussing the movie Cool World on 92.5 WLSD The Vault.
That's a cool world indeed.
And David, it's nice to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
It's been a while.
Work had me a little bit overwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie.
You've been working your fingers to the bone. How many hours do you work a week?
Been working my bones to the finger. What do you mean? Jesus Christ.
It's been a long time since you've been on the show. You've been
Yeah.
working like every Friday night, haven't you?
Yeah, it's like no kidding. I've been working anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week.
What was the last show you were able to join on?
Oh Lord.
I'm trying to think back.
This is months ago. It seems like.
It has been, I think.
Because it seemed like no time. I got my 6-month text from McDonald's, like, congratulations, and that was already a couple of months ago. And
Right.
I'm like, where's the time going? Jesus Christ.
So quickly. Time is just going by so quickly. So tonight we're going to be talking about the movie Cool World. But before we get into that, please go to all the social media pages. Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok,
Absolutely,
and Instagram.
kiddos.
We've had an upswing in the Spotify, so thank you all for that. And like I've teased for a while, some things are going to happen with the YouTube version as well. But Cool World, had you heard of this movie, David?
No, I hadn't. I didn't even think Brad Pitt had even done anything at this young of an age.
Yeah, this was very interesting to see him in one of his very first starring roles. And I don't think he's the first name that's mentioned in the credit sequence, though.
No, his is the third.
That's what I thought. But he actually, wouldn't you say he is
He's literally on the poster. He's the main. He's
pretty much the main person in the movie, besides Holly
and Jack.
and Jack. So this is a movie. Now, we were talking a little bit before we went live on air that a couple of different synopsises, say different things about what this movie is actually about.
Yeah.
And the one on IMDb isn't exactly correct. So I wrote, the story focuses on a cartoonist who finds himself in an animated world he thinks he created and is seduced by one of the female cartoons.
Yeah. And see, you know what I find odd about this is this was definitely all about Jack more than it was Frank.
Yes.
And like, why was Jack not featured in like any of the posters that I seen?
Right. None of them. And I want to get into that too, because there's kind of two different storylines. Now, this director, Ralph Bakshi, the only real big movie that I saw that he did was a movie called Cannonball Run 2, and then he directed the David Bowie video that went along with this movie. And other than that, this was his last theatrical and not only, but his last theatrical movie. So he's not directed a movie since 1992.
I can imagine this. Okay, so like, to be honest, like, I like the characters. I'll give it that.
Right.
But that movie was just an absolute mess.
It was completely.
The editing was horrible. Oh God, I can't even get into the editing. Like, 1 second it's like, okay, so it's like, if it's just showing the cartoon characters, everything's all cartooning. But like, if it's gonna have like Jack or Frank in it, you notice how the scenery wasn't so cartoony anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like watching that switch almost gave me a headache.
It was
You
very
had to watch
awkward.
it so much.
So we have Jack Deebs, played by Gabriel Byrne, Holly Wood, played by Kim Basinger, and Frank Harris, played by Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And this was early roles for Brad Pitt. Like we said, this is Brad Pitt's one of his very first lead roles.
Yeah.
And I thought,
honestly, I can see why Brad Pitt got third billing for this movie, because like, his acting wasn't that great.
No, that's what I was going to say. His acting in this movie was not good. His dialogue wasn't good that he had to say, but his acting, I thought his was the worst of the three.
Yeah.
I really did. And, this was a movie where Kim Basinger, she had just come off of, she had done Batman. She was in Batman not long before this movie, and
Okay.
she was in another movie with Val Kilmer the same year as this called The Real McCoy, and it was a failure as well. So she had a couple different failure movies in a row, and this being one of them. And Gabriel Byrne, he went on later to be in the Usual Suspects. If you've ever seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie called End of Days, he was in that. Or a movie in the same year, 1999, called Stigmata. He's in that. And Hereditary. That's, I think, one of
Yeah, I
his
think I've heard of those. But I don't think
more recent ones.
I don't think I've seen them.
So yeah, this was a complete disaster. I think in every sense of the word.
Yeah, did you notice in the scenes whenever Frank's with Lonnie, the other cartoon
Yeah.
chick character, I guess his cartoon wife would probably be, because like he's in that world for 50 years.
Now, what did you think about the way he even got to that world?
It was certainly odd.
Was there a reason for that? Did I miss something in that? Because if for you all
Okay,
that don't
so-
know,
It doesn't really delve into it until later on.
like Brad Pitt's his character, it opens up. He's coming. What war is he coming from? World War II.
Yeah, because it was 45.
So
1945, yeah.
he
so
gets
World War
home.
II.
He greets his mother. He takes his mother out on a motorcycle ride.
Yeah, and they get ran over by a drunk driver.
Right, and and his mother gets killed.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
And like he's just laying there, and it's like that cartoon doctor and a couple of his minions or whatever, like watching through a portal. Like, I don't know, it didn't really delve into what was going on until later in the movie, but they
Yeah.
were trying to pass over into the real world as cartoon characters, but weren't able to because they were cartoon characters. They just it was a whole thing where they had to find essentially the pathways and put spikes in them. I don't know.
I never did
really
understand.
odd.
Because when you first watch it, you know,
I just know the cartoon doctor, which Vinny
right?
was trying to get into the real world, but needed to be Noid, as they called him,
Yes.
or human.
Yes,
Which that threw me off too, because I hear Noid and I think that weird rabbit dude with the red suit.
from Domino's,
Yeah.
the Noid. There was did you ever play this? You may not have. There was a Nintendo game with that Noid in it called Avoid the Noid, and you play the
I
game.
never played it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it was actually fun. It was a side scrolling game, but it was actually a really really fun game. Avoid the
And,
Noid.
it's so funny because this movie, the music in it, totally reminds you of a side-scrolling Nintendo
Yeah,
game.
it does. Now, what did you think about the animation in this movie?
Oh, horrible. God awful. I mean, like, the characters are cool. But, like, there's a couple scenes whenever Frank's with Lonnie and he's got his arm draped around her shoulder, and then, like, in parts where, like, his hand's supposed to, like, drape over her shoulder, you could see clearly where it's just, like, it clips through her character.
And a lot
Like,
of the
it's just
times,
like he's just, like, doing this right here, and she's, like, not actually there.
yeah, and a lot of times when Jack is talking to Holly, or Holly, and even when Frank is talking to his girl, you can tell that their eyes aren't looking where the character should be.
Yeah.
There was a couple times it just looked vacant.
What, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but there was a couple scenes where Kim Basinger, it's like Kim Basinger the whole time whenever she was in her Noid self, like Holly's Noid self, whenever her and Jack,
Yeah,
and it seems like she was just lip syncing her parts.
yeah, it did. I thought so too. I thought this
Because, like,
was
literally the very first scene, she's human, and she's looking in the mirror. She says something, and it is literally not how her mouth moves at all.
no, it doesn't sync up at all. I noticed that as well. Now, we'll get into a couple of facts here. The director wanted Brad Pitt to originally play Jack. And that's who Brad Pitt wanted to play, but the studio didn't want Brad Pitt because this was, like we had said, his first starring
Yeah.
role. and so he took the role as Frank. Now, do you think Brad Pitt would have done any better as Jack?
No,
I don't think so.
He'd have done a lot worse.
I think so too.
Than what he did with Frank.
The movie was originally made to be a hard R-rated animated live-action horror film.
I mean, how was it not?
But the studio got cold feet once again, and they wanted it toned down to a PG-13, and then we got the movie that we got.
No, they cuss a lot. We see a part where a dude's bleeding out on the road after being pushed off a freaking ledge.
It's kind of a violent.
It's got every precursor for an R-rated movie.
Yeah, but they said
Hey, it was 92 though. It was a different time. I
True.
guess ratings probably would have been a little less.
like more not as nose on the grindstone back then. I guess more flexible. So the original script also Hollywood was named Debbie Dallas. In reference to a movie from the 70s that we can't get into on this show.
Okay.
And then Willem Dafoe was the director's first choice to play Jack Deebs. What do you think of Willem Dafoe? I think Jack was cast well.
Yeah.
As I think he did a good...
See, even though I really don't know who Gabriel Byrne is, I don't.
Was this the first thing you can remember seeing him in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That I can actually think of, yeah.
Now, speaking of disaster, this movie cost $30 million and only made
I didn't even look at
14.1.
Ouch, yeah, I was a little scared.
Now, when the movie first opened, it opened up in 4th or 5th place, and I think it was Fox maybe. They immediately canceled any advertisement after the first week. They were like, this movie's flopping, not doing well. There was also another controversy when this movie came out. On the Hollywood sign, they posted a 75-foot tall replica of Holly on top of the Hollywood sign, and it drew a lot of protest and such. But I was doing some other research, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit had done a very similar thing 4 years earlier with Jessica Rabbit, and they put the pictures together of Hollywood Hollywood and then Jessica Rabbit side by side, and they're dressed very similarly in the pictures that they show, but yet no one complained about Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit was just a heck of a better movie. So
much better.
Storyline better, explains things better. The characters are structurally they're better.
This movie was
just better. Editing and everything, like the characters fit in well, like in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But this movie just, I don't know. It's crazy because like Who Framed Roger Rabbit was in '88 and this is '92. You'd think that something 4 years later
would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
When it's 10 times worse.
Yeah.
The critics agreed. Rotten Tomatoes 4% positive. Audience score only 31%, and IMDb 4.9. Now, what did you think about this plot and story? I thought this to be completely odd. I didn't think there was much of a plot. Am I wrong in the basic plot is Holly wants to get to the real world and become real? Is that the basic plot?
Yeah, because she wants to... She's like, I want to experience everything that I couldn't as a doodle.
Yeah. And basically, if she turns into a doodle, it could disrupt the balance between the worlds and cause chaos.
Yeah, so it's basically where she becomes human through ink, and then she's in the real world. It's like two worlds colliding type. I guess the whole... like a shift in the space-time continuum or something where like two universes collide.
In this movie...
or two realities collide or something.
It takes so long to even get to that point. Because there's not a lot of...
Yeah, because, I mean, you have Frank intervening all the time, but at the same time almost like slipping him own self.
Yes. Now... you have two for the most part. For the first 2/3 of the movie, you have two kind of different storylines. You follow Frank, and you follow Jack.
Yeah.
I thought following Jack's character was more interesting than
Yeah.
Frank.
Absolutely. But the way the movie ended, just
I thought the last part of the movie was the worst part of the movie. The
Yeah.
last act of the movie. It wasn't great up until that point, but the last part of the movie, I think it fell apart completely.
yeah.
Because it
So-
dove into like Jack turned into like a superhero doodle
Yeah.
that didn't even resemble anything that he looked like.
No.
At least Holly, when she was a doodle, when she became real, she kind of looked similar.
Okay, so no, that whenever she was having like her little flashes where she was going back to a doodle.
She kind of looked like a clown.
Yeah. Yeah, almost like a grown-up Raggedy Annie type.
But it never explained why she looked like that, though, did it? No, there's so many things in this movie where they just don't explain.
So horrible.
Did you like any of the characters?
Then I thought the characters were absolutely cool, and if you paid attention close enough, you actually seen a lot of old like Acme and like Disney characters.
Thrown in.
Early, yeah, like I seen a poster that had Daffy Duck on it. I seen Bluto.
Oh, yeah.
He was in there. I also seen. See here, who else was it? Oh goodness. You remember the ape that guards the door in Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
He's actually in one of the original scenes, like at the beginning of the movie.
Okay. No, there was a lot of throwbacks like that. I agree with you. I think the characters were okay. I don't think Brad Pitt was a good choice.
No.
And I usually don't say that about him because he's a good actor, but in this,
And I tell you what,
he's not a good actor in this.
I tell you who my pitch would have been,
Okay.
and you're probably gonna be like, you. I think you'll like it. I
Okay.
think you'll like it. But it's Johnny Depp.
He could have done this,
I
especially
think-
Johnny Depp during this time.
yes.
And
Because he was still quite young at the time.
Yeah.
Still, because, like, see here, it was 92, so it would have been around the time of what, Edward Scissorhands?
yeah, right after Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
I think they should have. Johnny Depp would have worked, and I also think they should have had a much better story.
Wait, when did What's Eating Gilbert Grape come out? When did that come out?
1993.
So, see, yeah, Johnny Depp definitely would have been perfect for
Yeah,
this
I
role.
think he would have done a good job. But I don't think anybody could have made the movie better if it weren't a better script. Like, it needed to be a better storyline than what it was.
Yeah.
I thought,
I think if Johnny Depp was in there, it would have got a 5% from Rotten Tomatoes.
yeah, it would have gotten better. Now, there's a video, and I've not watched it yet. It's a series on YouTube about how did this movie get made, and it shows, it's different movies.
Yeah.
This was one of the movies that were on there. That was on theirs.
Oh, speaking of, have you seen the documentary for a Goofy movie yet?
I haven't.
It's on Disney Plus.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, you do. Let me tell you, man. The things that they went through for that freaking movie to create the masterpiece that they did.
That's a movie that even people today watch it, don't they?
I go back and watch it all the time.
Yeah.
It's a great freaking. I watch them both.
It's such a fun movie. It really is
Even
a
though
fun
the second
movie.
one wasn't nearly as good.
I've never seen the second one. I've only seen the first one.
You haven't seen an extremely goofy movie?
No.
You've got to. Because he literally goes to college with Max.
Okay.
So,
Is Pauly Shore the voice in this one too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Did you have a favorite scene in this movie?
No, not really. I didn't. Because it was just so hard to just.
I thought it took a lot out of me to
It would
watch
be
it.
better to ask me if I had a favorite character.
What about
More or less than like favorite scene.
who would be your favorite character in this one?
Like out of all of them, I
Yeah.
really liked. Okay, so it was like one of the like bad guys kind of. It's like the dude like they're always like causing harm to sort of. He's like the one that like simps over Holly.
Right.
There's like the one scene where they've got him like tied to the front bumper of the car. that they ride in on before, like it looks like they're about to like run over Jack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that dude. He's very he had me laughing a lot.
Yeah. Now I did notice. I don't know. I don't even know if I have a favorite character in this movie, to be honest. But I did notice that there's a lot of random things going on around the characters. Like for example, at this one point, I can't remember who's talking, but I think it might be Jack and Holly, and there's just a cartoon dog head just floating through the frame of the camera. It's just floating across, and there's just random things with animated characters that really don't have anything to do with what's going on.
They would like mention those moments whenever that first part, the first time that Frank and Holly are talking, and every time she would say noids, it would show those like cartoon characters like run across the screen, like float across the screen. Or whatever.
Or like when that one character has those like nickels or those wooden coins.
Yeah.
That like I take it as they ate those characters because they're chomping, but it was never mentioned again, was it?
No.
Just randomness.
Yeah, and it's so weird. It's like 1 second they're like following Holly, and then like like trying to help her do the thing with Jack, and then all of a sudden when she does the thing with Jack, they're like, hey, get her.
Yeah.
Like,
very
okay. Well,
so many things that just don't even make sense. They don't.
This movie was just an absolute structural mess. I think they just because like what I'd read on it is like and just about didn't get the okay for the big screen because due to the simple fact they didn't want a movie where cartoon and reality like cross over. And I'm like, well, like didn't they already do that in '88? And I'm like, I'm watching this movie and like the crossover between reality and cartoon world in this movie is just so different.
Yes.
So more sinister, had more sinister tone to it than what
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, like because it was more in Roger Rabbit. It was more coexisting. In this movie, it was more like takeover.
And what did you think about? What did you think about the contrast between this movie and Monkey Bone? Like, did you like this one better than Monkey Bone?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
You like this one better?
Yeah.
The Monkey Bone?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I did.
I'm trying to think.
Because, this movie did. It had its funny moments, but just, like, all together, like, watching it, paying attention to it, plot-wise, like, visual-wise, just
all over the place.
Structural mess.
It didn't make a whole lot of sense.
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
What about the music and the score of this movie?
Loved it. Loved all the music.
I thought it had good music too.
Every bit of loony and retro that you could about get.
It really was.
And again, it's one of those things that we always mention. It's like an early 90s thing. So it's like everything still sounds like it's from the 80s.
Yeah, it's like a carryover from...
And actually, one thing that I want to really point out, big messy part of this movie, back in the 40s.
Yeah.
A lot of the scenes, like a lot of the suits that the guys are wearing, for the 40s, I'd like to know where they got those suits from the 50s at.
Yeah. Kind of like the one Brad Pitt's in?
Yeah.
Because as soon as he gets into that world, he's dressed like that.
Yes,
like right away.
Exactly.
And that's basically the only outfit he wears the entire movie, isn't it? Is that the only suit he wears?
I think so.
I think so too. I think so too. Do you want a microphone at all? No. No? Okay. What about originality? What did you think about that?
No, not a bit. Nothing about it. It basically tried to copy Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but
in a less.
God, it's just
a failure in every sense of the word, basically. Just about. What about the poster? Did you like the poster?
Yeah, I like the poster. It's pretty cool.
I thought so too. I thought the poster makes it look like you'd mentioned earlier, even though Brad Pitt's not the first one named in the credit sequence, He's the main one on the
So
poster.
then, like, if this movie's so horrible, I wonder how much like more horrible the game is.
I don't know. That would be something to see. That should be another, like a review. Like we'll find the game to some of these movies and play it.
Yeah.
Have you played the game?
Let's just not play E.T.
Have you played that one before?
What?
E.T.
No.
I've just
But,
seen.
like I've read just everything about it. I think it seemed like I watched like a little documentary about. It's just like a pop culture documentary, and it mentioned it in there, just like how horribly the game did.
Okay. Let's see. What about? Would you or would you not recommend this movie?
I would recommend it for the satire.
I think I'd recommend it too. Just because
I mean, it's Brad Pitt for one. It's good to see, like, you know, our big stars, you know, see their roots, see where they come from.
This is a movie that I've read that Brad Pitt puts down, and he's not.
And I think that was a big issue with him, is because he was so young.
Yeah, and just like we said, he doesn't. I'm not saying he's the worst I've ever seen anyone, but he's not good.
Yeah, no,
like his acting
this
is.
movie. It's just, and I think it contributes. Just
Even his
being
voice,
young.
you can tell his voice
Yeah.
is like, you know, it's Brad Pitt, but
Like-
he's just not. He's just not good in this. So yeah. So do you have an idea of what movie you want to do next week? Do you have any? Haven't? No. Okay. So next week we will have a. I just got word right before. I'm going to tease this for the other people's show. But I got word right before we came on that there's going to be a celebrity going to be calling in next week.
Oh.
So that'll be cool.
Okay.
And but we will let you all know what movie it's going to be. We have a lot that the audience has, suggested over time. But it's good to have you back, David. I'm glad
It's good to be here. It felt good to be back. I needed this. I needed some studio time.
Yeah.
Work has killed me.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. But everyone, please go to all the social media pages. That's the Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, The Other People Show. And we will be back on WLSD 92.5 in just a moment.